Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel, Cedric here in Antwerp with a brand new brew review. Today we are having another beer from a brewery in French Flanders. Now we have had some by Biere, the fake Trappist, or normal Trappist now, the Trois Monts series by Brasserie Saint-Sylvestre, the Anosteke by Brasserie du Pays Flamand, and the Blanche by Moulin d'Ascq. But there is yet another brewery in that neighborhood or in that region, even since 1926, called Castelain. And today we will be tasting the Castelain Grand Cru. Now we will be talking about the brewery as well, but first let's have a taste. Similar to the Trois Monts, Castelain is known for making Biere de Garde amongst other styles. And this beer is only available in 20-liter kegs or in these lovely corked matte black 75 centiliter bottles like intended with Biere de Garde. And if we look closer, we can see that this also has a branded cork and muselet and all. And since recently it is also available in 6-liter perfect draft kegs. No sponsor, but you're welcome. The Castelain Grand Cru is a top fermented strong blonde beer, and they prefer to call it a golden ale, with an ABV of 8.5% brewed with locally sourced Pas de Calais malts. It holds a Flemish Saaz, Magnum and Tettnanger or Tettnanger hops, and this is a beer with some history because the predecessor of this Grand Cru was described by legendary beer critic and writer Michael Jackson as the sweetest of the Biere de Garde, earthy, grassy, citrusy, slightly sticky palate with aromatic maltiness, long finish, rounded up a beer to go with food. Now the more recent versions, like this one, are said to be rather malty and spicy, which renders me curious since I am not the biggest fan of sweet or too sweet beers, but I do love beers with spicy notes, as you guys know. So yeah, I'm anticipating. Let's dive right in. So let's see what this fuzz is all about. Now, it did win a silver medal in Paris in 2022. A very classic scent, a nice vapor coming off the top. Let me dig after one of these closing tops. Okay, first things first, let's look at it. While pouring, it seemed to be very clear, much clearer than I expected, but during the pouring it got a bit hazier, which is more to be expected from a beer like this. It is a Biere de Garde, it is a beer to keep re-fermented in the bottle, so we would expect some haziness, some yeast. It is called a golden ale, and I can see why. I would call this more yellowish than gold, but let's go with the gold. Some pretty white foam with a slightly yellow shine to it. Some nice pearling. It is nicely carbonated, and even though the foam is already going down, we still have that nice centimeter of foam to protect our beer from oxygen. Not too much in the nose. I do get some carbon dioxide, I do get a lot of malt, I do get some sweetness. That about rounds it up. Mainly malt, slightly sweet, and carbon dioxide. So let's jump to the tasting then. Cheers! It doesn't happen very often, but this tastes exactly as I expected. Probably because I read about it already, but it is indeed no longer the sweetest. It isn't that sweet anymore. Now, I did keep it in the cellar for quite a while, so that fermentation has been going on for a while, but that is not really, yeah, that's not all. I do think that they evolved to a less sweet Biere de Garde or a less sweet Grand Cru. And I do think that the choice of these more recent hops, mainly the Tête Nangée, does help with that slightly spicy note. So I already gave away, this is not as sweet as I would expect from Michael Jackson's review. But this is the recent version, the newer version. It is a bit drier, it is a bit, I think, longer fermented maybe, or a bit more aggressively. It is nicely carbonated, lovely mouthfeel. It is quite hoppy as well, and I absolutely get those spicy notes. Yeah, up until now I really like this. Yeah, I would not necessarily say that this is a very special beer, but I would like to point out that this is a very qualitative and nicely brewed beer. Beers don't have to be special for me. I like my beers classic as well, as long as it's been made good. This is a rather balanced beer. It does have that slightly sweet edge, mainly on the side of the tongue. But it is relatively dry, it is relatively bitter, it is slightly spicy. Absolutely love it. I would have expected to see coriander in the ingredients list when tasting this. It reminds me of an old school triple, but it is not apparently, but I do kind of like it. Also, what comes through for me is the aftertaste. I do like this aftertaste a lot. A lot of these beers are relatively dry in the first sip, but then come out rather sweet in the aftertaste. This is not like that. Michael Jackson also wrote quite sticky in the palate. This is no longer sticky. This is nice and refreshing. I would not say thirst quenching because it's getting me a bit more thirsty, if anything. But that is not because of the sweetness. That is because of the tingling on the tongue and the soft tissue in the back of the mouth. But it does have a lasting aftertaste, a nice dry and bitter finish. So yeah, I also think, but don't quote me on this, I think this was a relatively cheap bottle. I think I got this for like $4 or $5. So in that price range, I think this is a very, very good beer. And since it is not far from those 4 other breweries, and I will be going there in a while on other business, but I think I will extend my trip for a few days and maybe try to visit these guys and the other breweries. So yeah, cross your fingers that this will work. Yeah, all that being said, let's go over to the scoring. Let's quote this. I would say easily 3.5, maybe 3.75. So a very slightly above average, well-made, qualitative, lovely, nice beer. So if you're ever in France or near the border and you can get your hands on a bottle of this, don't hesitate to do so, especially at this price point. Lovely, lovely beer. Go and check it out. Yeah. After all that, I would say thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. Welcome to the new subscribers. I'm humbled and surprised that this channel keeps growing, but hey, all of you guys are welcome. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, remarks, anything. And if you want to see more, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll get notified whenever I upload something, which should be every Friday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Antwerp time. So yeah, I'll see you guys again next Friday. Cheers.